Hey guys, Hamilton here to walk you through the WST Macro add-in, some of our key features and key highlights. You have a basic understanding of how we approach our macros and why we make our claim for supreme efficiency. I'm just going to load up Excel here, and how you know you've successfully installed the macros is that every time you do restart Excel, WST shows up in the ribbon every single time without fail. After you've successfully activated, validated, you will see that the ribbon options are now black as opposed to grayed out, and all of our keystrokes work. So I'm just going to zoom in here. I'm going to put in a bunch of ones, and we're going to start off with some of our formatting as well as our shading font color menus, and walk you through our approach once again. So in cell A1, if I want to make this blue, because we do care a lot about color coding here, right? Blues and blacks, inputs, outputs. We do use red sometimes as well, and we do know some folks like to use green. So B, Control-Shift-B for blue, Control-Shift-K, Control-Shift-R, Control-Shift-G for red and green. So here the idea is we don't want to cycle. We want to be extremely precise. One shot again, one kill. If I want that supreme efficiency, don't make me cycle through. If I'm on the wrong part of the cycle code or I overcycle, it's not going to work. So from a formatting perspective, Control-Shift-D, M, C, and X will give you our D for dollar, M for money, our number formatting, C for percent, as well as X for our multiple formatting. And of course, you can still use these and multiply across and do what you got to do. For those in the debt world, we do care a lot about basis points. So if I 0.001%, Control-Shift-C to make a percent, it's basically 0.1%. But we sometimes want to express this as 10 bips. So a lot of people will do, let's make that $1,000,000. So what a lot of people will do at times is to have the 10 basis points as a separate column label, multiply, and then have to divide by 10,000. We don't do things like that. So if I do $1,000,000 times 0.1%, I get my $1,000,000, and more importantly is Control B in our macros will make this 0.001 become a 10 bips and completely automate that. So we don't do nonsense stuff like that. No good. Here, I'm gonna now demonstrate, again, formatting sort of, on steroids. And I'll just have a bunch of random numbers and I'll take a sum here. Standard formatting, I'll just do a quick copy paste special value there so the numbers stop changing. Standard formatting Worksheet says $ on top, nothing in between. The second to last one, the last item before the total has a underline or a proper border, but we like to use the underline, and then $ on the bottom. This, however, can get very cumbersome. So here I'll just clear all the formatting again. I'll hit Control D and everything gets formatted as a block. But sometimes you do legitimately have a list of numbers and you don't have that total. Well, here we don't have a keystroke for that, so you go through our menus, our regular block formatting, as opposed to block formatting with totals that I just went through, and it will take care of that as well. From an increase, decrease decimal perspective, instead of hitting Alt H0, Alt H0, Alt H0, if I want to add 3 decimals, Alt H9, Alt H9, plus the very silly lag that Microsoft likes to put in there, too slow. Control Alt, greater than sign, less than sign, super duper fast, super duper efficient. That, folks, is the name of the game. If you're in a real estate world, we do a lot of real estate deals. So from that perspective, this is very important to us. So we added in all these additional dollar per square feet, square feet, yards, meters, etc. So go through that and take the time to really understand sort of that logic. Here, if we want to use, let's say, a generic, I'm going to go through labels, and right now, if I do a generic year 1, or year 2, year 3, let's make these all the same column widths for now. In essence, the typing in year 1, 2, 3 is very tedious, especially again in a 40-year real estate model, etc. Very, very, very cumbersome. If I cannot, as you know, simply add, because you're basically taking text plus a number, doesn't work that way. Instead, our preferred method would be to say equals left plus 1, copy that across, and let's just do 5 years, Control Alt Y. We can center it and then do our custom formatting for our labels, and instantly you get year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that in a heartbeat. These are still natively organically numbers. So if I hit Control-Shift-D, Control-Shift-M, C, X, you can even go back to basis points. Let's not do that because of the column widths. And so as a result, all of that can very, very, very easily, very, very trivially be updated, automated. So again, Control M for, let's say, months. So go through and take the time to understand that. We have a lot of date formatting macros as well. You'll see the dates. We go ahead and really preach the universal date, which is years, months, dates. But of course, in the US, we don't do that. In Asia, Europe, it's the other way around. Months and days are swapped. So we go ahead and we've got all these custom formatting here as well. Dash formatting is an interesting one. Let's say, for instance, we're going ahead and we're saying, hey, listen, I got a range of stock prices from, let's say, 10 to 20 bucks. And the problem is I want a little dash in there. So our macros, by the way, also put a little automated end dash for those who know that. And so from that perspective, the problem here, the challenge is that we still need to have that extra spacer column, in this case, column E, to do that. So that's a bit cumbersome. We don't like that. So instead, why don't we go ahead and let's create this thing called dash formatting, which automatically puts in a dash there, and you don't have to worry about it, guys. This is easy peasy. Oh, here's a good one, centering. So let's go ahead and let's make this back to, let's say, years. Oh, I killed that one there. And our typical thing, for instance, I'm just going to zoom up here so I can see this a little better. We'll have, let's say, year 0, and that might be your last actual year. Year 1, the current first year of your estimate will be estimated, and then you will have your projected years and whatnot. So Control E to center, that is a macro, and then we have Control Shift E, enhancing the Control E center, and we go ahead and now have this properly centered across these here, but it is not going to merge. We are expressly forbidden from merging. And of course, we still care about our formatting labels, so we'll go ahead and go through some of our borders here and just get this formatting to look nice and pretty there. So take the time to go through that. Ditto for shading, font color. Oh, here's a good one on all of our shadings. So we have our standard Control Shift Y for red. And then we start to use alts now because we honestly ran out of keystrokes, right? Control Alt A to Z, Control Shift Alt A to Z, Control Alt A to Z, Control Shift Alt A, everything's used up. So Control Alt X, Control Alt G, Control Alt O, and then Control Shift Alt W for white. So a couple of them here and there are slightly different, but very, very intuitively. And by the way, if you want to change these color codes, no worries. I just went through these, by the way. Control Shift N will kill all the fills. You can go ahead under our WST options, go ahead and customize your fill color. So I'm just going to quickly pick some random. Let's do a very light shade of yellow, just something that so we know right away it's not our code. Let's do a pinkish. For green, let's do this, I don't know, lime green. And then for orange, we'll go ahead and pick this, this orange, sure, much darker. We don't allow you to change white because white is just simply white. So Control Shift Alt, Control Shift Y, Control Alt X, Control Alt G, Control Alt O. And of course, you can always go ahead and just reset from Reset Preferences, or under here, Reset All to Default. Let's go ahead and do that. And everything is set back to your defaults. Let's go through our dollar currency formatting real quick just to show you guys, walk through it on your own in terms of the options. I can change my default currency. Let's make that euros, or you can add your own preset. You know what? If I'm dealing in millions and billions, usually my default is no decimals. But let's say I'm dealing in thousands. I might want to put a decimal, or vice versa, whatever you want. So change your default to, I'm just going to make this really obvious, 3 as your number of decimals for all your formatting for dollars and money macro and all the dash, etc. And let's just pick one more. Let's do negative option. I'll do 2. I haven't walked through that yet. I'm just going to give you all the alternatives, and let's do zoom. Let's put that in as a random 23. And let's do a force align is mode 2. So what all of that meant is, I'm just going to put let's do hundreds actually. Control Shift D, now you see as euro with 3. Control Shift M is no currency, so basically number formatting, 3 decimals. Control Shift C, let's put in a Control Shift X. Those are always defaulted to 1 decimal. We don't want to change that. I'm going to make this really obvious by making a very much larger column width. I can left align all of these. So our default is all numbers get right aligned. That is a standard as well across Wall Street formatting. So here we did that. I'm going to Control R this across just so you guys can see the changes. So I'm going to hit our Control Shift Alt N macro, which is our toggle negative. That is in our data manipulation right here, toggle negative. And so as a result, you'll see that that is the current negative formatting, especially with the percents, the multiples, and the currency symbol. The brackets are inclusive of the whole thing. By the way, real quick, I'm going to go to 100% zoom, as you can see in the bottom right here. And now I hit Control J as our jump in, Control Shift J as our jump out. And that is doing it at that very random, weird 23% increment that I changed it to. So here quickly, I'm just going to reset all our preferences back to the Wall Street Training defaults. Go back to our Control 4, which is our 400% zoom right here. And I'm going to go ahead and do another Control-Shift-D, Control-Shift-M, Control-Shift-C, and X. And I'll make these negative, and you'll see the negatives are around the number as opposed to the symbol. So again, those are just different techniques and different preferences. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-Alt-L, our left align macro. You can't really hit the thing right now, but I'll use this crappy ribbon or a mouse just to show you that it's left align. And no matter what I do center, it's going to stay right align. So that was the force right align. So that's sort of, again, a little quick preview in our formatting, etc. Borders. Let's talk borders real quick. Let's say this is the minus sign. This is the underscore sign. If you look at your key next to the 0, it looks like a bottom and a top border respectively. So let's select the block here. Control Alt minus, Control Shift Alt minus, which is really Control underscore because it looks like a top border. Will get you our top and bottom. Control Alt left right square bracket will get you our borders there. We also have one for double border and a whole bunch of other border related stuff. So go ahead and take the time to go through sort of the automation that we've got there. Fills. Ooh, this one a personal favorite. I'm just going to kill all this for a moment. Many times, again, we're building a financial model, right? I got a bunch of ones. I want the 2 underneath to stop where the 1 stop. Instead of doing a double click, which we're not allowed to click, we can simply, as you guys already hopefully know, Control R, Control D, we added in Control L, Control Shift U for the other 2 directions. I can do what we call a super duper awesome macro to the right, Control Shift Alt, that's 3 keys, Control with your pinky, Shift with your ring finger, and Alt with either your thumb or your pointer, index finger. Control Shift Alt, hit the letter R, and bam, everything immediately, it just knows where to stop. I'll put a 3 here, Control Shift Alt L also goes to the left. I'm gonna do a bunch of 1s. I'll put a 3 here as well. So Control Shift Alt D goes down, Control Shift Alt U. It just knows where to stop. And that's the beauty of our macro, supreme efficiency. We're trying to take all the manual labor and put in all the, replace that with all of our awesome automation. There's a lot more stuff here, guys. So go ahead and take the time to go through that. Under our data manipulation menu, oh, here's a good one. So oftentimes in financial modeling, we're gonna have, let's say, historical income statement, I don't know, 100 to 120 bucks, right? So I want to say Control Shift Alt 1, what is the percent change? That is a 20% change, and that's automated there. And then I say, hey, listen, let's keep that 20% constant. So we want to do basically an equals left. We can hit Control Shift Alt 2. Let's, of course, color code this properly, get rid of our grid lines. And now you will see that everything is sort of perfect there. And then last but not least, let's just grow this 120 bucks continuously by that same 20%. And bam, there you go. Everything is automated. Sure, those are simple formulas. You can figure it out on your own. But again, here, commonly used tasks, we're just trying to automate it for you. So a couple of the cool stuff is obviously your pay special formulas, values, formats, etc. So let's say I want to take this 120 bucks. I want to copy paste that format into this random, I don't know, 50 here. And the usually it'll be a Control C, Alt E S. Let's say formats, T, enter, escape. And if you count it, it's actually a lot of keystrokes. So what we'll end up doing instead is trying to automate that. So here, I'll just make this 50,000% or 50, whatever the math works out to be. I will simply hit Control Alt S. Think about it, it's really just the 3 keys. Just go right up and you hit enter and you're done. Obviously, you 50, oops, I did pay special value as opposed to pay special formats. So if I did Control T, again, just super duper quick, trying to streamline all your commonly used functions. I'm going to go through these inserts here. This is a very, very, very supreme, again, efficiency. So I'm going to scroll down here, and let's just say I got a bunch of numbers. I'm going to say 10, 11, 12, 13. As you guys already all know, Alt equals is already built into Excel. But why isn't there another feature for, let's say, average? So that's our Alt minus that we threw in there. Or let's say I got I want to multiply. So I got, I don't know, 50, and let's just say it's 20%, right? So instead of doing equals up, times up, or if you had multiple, more than 2, that is, cells, you'd have to use the product function. Otherwise, it would be like A times B times C, etc. too cumbersome. So we did Alt 8 because 8 obviously is the multiply. And if you only have 2 cells, it will know to use the multiply. What's really great about our macro here is if I have 3 cells, or more than 2 basically, it will now know to use the product function. You want to not even have that message box come up, just pre-select, right? Pre-select, bam, it just knows what to do. So I think that's pretty cool. I hope you agree as well. If not, all right, cool, fine, you know. So we have a lot more on the data manipulation. Oh, here's another favorite of mine. We're gonna do some labels. I might as well show you a couple other ones and create some fake data. So I got this 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna kill this formula for a moment. Then I'm gonna throw in, let's say, an ABC, but I'll throw in an XYZ, and what's another good one? I don't know, DEF, GHI, 20, 25. All right, making this stuff up. All right, let's just write a line and everything. So here, what we could do is, first of all, I can go ahead here, copy, paste, special, transpose, and now I have all the information to the right. So here under our data manipulation menu, we have a reverse selection. This is vertically here, up and down, and it will reverse all that. And of course, if you screwed it up, didn't really want to do that, you can just click it again, select it again. We don't like clicking. And here, ditto for reverse horizontal selection. It's all pretty cool, actually. Let's see if there's anything else on the data manipulation I want to go through. Oh yeah, units. Units are important. So let's say this was 100, and let's say it's a client downloader, and it came in as raw units. So it came in as 100 million, let's say. And then say, hey, listen, I want all units in millions, so I'll just go ahead and truncate this, and essentially you'll just whack off the zeros. Percents. A lot of times people will say, let's say 20, and then make it a percent. Oh crap, and you needed to make this 20. Well, instead of retyping it, why don't you just change your units here by thousands or hundreds and whatnot. This multiply and remove multiply 0 is actually very cool for auditing as well. We got a lot of other stuff here, guys, so just take the time to go through it. Let's move on. Text manipulation. This is one of my, I love this one. A rat in the house may eat the ice cream. If you figure out what that spells, it actually spells arithmetic. So I can go ahead, I'm just gonna be quick after this. It's gonna be Alt S for WST Training, T for text manipulation. I'm gonna say, let's make everything, oh, it already is lowercase. That wasn't very smart. Let's do everything uppercase. So everything is uppercase now. Let's make everything lowercase. Let's make everything what we call proper case, which is capitalize the first letter of every word, or let's make everything what we call sentence case, for instance. So we have a lot of casing stuff there for those who are in credit, certain databases. The negative sign will be on the right, so we move that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff here as well. Auditing is a very, very, very key one. But before I do that, let me go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to open this file that we've got here. It's our standard financial model and show you some really freaking cool automation here. So first automation, auditing, since I was there, let's go to cell retained earnings here. You see we've got cell references from my own sheet and from 2 other sheets. So instead of the traditional control left square bracket that Excel's got built in, we'll hit Control Shift and then the left square bracket. So this is our custom trace precedent macro. And what's really beautiful is you can go ahead, select it, you can jump to it, and more importantly, and nobody else got this, we allow inline editing. For those who understand this, one response, you're welcome. For those who don't understand it, well, maybe this ain't for you, right? And so, of course, we have that on the trace dependent side as well. I'm going to go through some color coding macros. So I'm going to select all those sheets. You see all the sheets, and now white it out here, select all, and then make everything red. As I cycle through everything, you see now everything is red except for a couple of random white cells here. I'll talk. That's our conditional formatted, and a couple blues here and there. Anyway, so here I got all the file is red, and as you know, blues are inputs, blacks are outputs, right? So instead of having to tediously now one at a time do Control Shift B, Control Shift B, Control Shift K, well, that's a bit of a pain in the butt. So we can do Control Shift H. Control Shift H stands for select hardcode. Control Shift I stands for select formulas. Why I for formulas? Well, because Control Shift FORMULAS, we're taking it for other things. So knowing that, if you go to our auditing, you'll see we have our select hardcode, select formulas. We already know blues and blacks, so I do Control Shift HB, IK, blue, black, perfecto, bada bing, bada bang, it is done. But that is one sheet at a time. We have another option under our auditing, blue, black, all worksheets, everything automatically turns blue and black without you having to think. We personally don't like to use green. Green indicates a cell reference from another sheet within the same file. You're not allowed to link to external or other files. We'll talk about that in a moment on how to manage external links properly. Yes, we got a sweet one for you coming up. So instead of doing blue, black, all, let's do blue, black, green, all. Again, we don't use this, but we know a very big minority of analysts do use this. And you'll see here on the income statement, well, this comes from our debt schedule. You see in our balance sheet, these items come from the cash flow, etc. All of those cell references come from another sheet from the same file, and those are green. I don't like the green, so I will go ahead and select the blue, black. I don't need the green. And so as a result, I'm all back to square one. This is perfect, guys. This is what exactly our macros were built for. Supreme automation, giving you comfort and the ability to manage stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Under worksheet, we have basic navigation here, so you guys can figure this one out. I think it's pretty obvious. Chart, same thing. Let's go through two really cool features to round this out. I'm going to start off with this file that we consider to be a very, very, very crappy file. This is our external link files, and if I hit Alt-EK, edit links, you'll see I've got a ton of different links. And you don't really want to just universally and arbitrarily click break links, which, you know, is Excel's default option. It's not very good. You can't figure out what's being broken, and more importantly, just replace it with a value, and you can't trace and audit that. So if you go to Alt-SA for auditing, M right here in the middle for manage external links, so we call that SAM, Alt-SAM, generate the links list, and it will now tell you, let's just hide this for now, and essentially, we are going to get a full list of where the files are, what the link file is, the type of link. We can jump to it if appropriate. So here you'll see that. And so as a result, that's pretty cool. We'll also tell you what you can and cannot manipulate, or what we can and cannot delete manually. And that is very, very, very cool. I'm going to show you an extreme version. This came from a client. I will not mention his name, Steven. And this is a file. And when you go to Alt-EK, you'll see there are 4 links here. And so, you know, we've blocked this out. You can't see this is still, you know, under NDA. But the problem here is that you think there's 4 links, but you don't know how many of them there are traditionally. Again, how you manage links, especially hidden links, it's nearly impossible. So we'll hit Alt-SAM. We're going to fast forward this a little bit because it's going to take a while for this to crank out. There's a lot of links here. And so look, folks, it looks like we're back. All right, 512 links. What the heck is going on here? And so what you'll see here is that we have a lot of links that we didn't even know about. There's, by the way, way more than 4 links here, 4 files rather. And you'll see most of these in this case are name managers. If I go to name manager, oh, what is this? Pound ref up the you know what, no good. Anyways, here we let you properly manage it. Under our manage links, we do have an option to just simply say break all links. But again, there are some things that you can't break, and we would have highlighted, you saw in the other file, the green. Here we can break the links. So we're going to say break all links. Yes, break all the links. Give it a second to run. And after it's run, you'll see it's now broken them all. There are no more links. I go back to name manager, and we still got the pound rest because that's not technically an external link. So you can delete those on your own. And if I were to run generate links again, you'll say no external links found. I do Alt-EK. You hear the ding. It doesn't work because there are no more links. So we allow you to manage that with way more productivity increase. I'm going to show you one more that's cool. Here's a subset. This is something that I come across a lot, especially when doing a lot of journal entries, bad documentation. I have a whole bunch of numbers here. I want to figure out which one of these numbers add up possibly to this sum. Here we did it randomly. It's a bunch of these cells here. So we'll select this. We'll do our data manipulation man at the bottom, subset sum finder, hit enter. It's going to ask you for the possible inputs. It's going to say, where's the target sum? That was that cell up there. And then say, okay, let's put in a new sheet. Give it a second to run. And almost before you know it, it gave you all the options. Here in this case, it was actually, if I recall, subset 4. Let's just do a quick copy paste there. And you'll see, yes, it was subset 4. That was one of the options. In this case, there were a lot of options, 364, only because there were a lot of 5s here. And if I'm not mistaken, one of these was a 25. Anyway, you get the point. It's basically cycling through all the iterations and whatnot. So, folks, there you have it. That is a very quick preview of everything that we've got. And hopefully you understand exactly how this will make your life a lot better and a lot easier. Use your new powers wisely. With great power comes great responsibility.